Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's video is an album review on the 1986 album by Killing Joke, Brighter Than a Thousand Suns. Um, Jazz is having a cup of coffee with me. Thank you, Jazz. Um, but yeah, gonna go through their album and rate each song, and then give the overview, an overview, score for the album. So we're gonna get right into it. Track number one. Let's see here. Adorations. This. I should preface this album is definitely a mixed bag to hardcore Killing Joke fans. You know, some that don't like. I think there's some of the reasons why they don't like it is there's a little bit more atmosphere and maybe possibly the way that Jazz sings it. Um, this album isn't as punk as the early albums. It's not as alternative as the early albums. It's more leaning towards a polished sound for the good and the bad, and I think for really hardcore Killing Joke fans, um, I think it's a pain point for the al- for the fans and also for the band themselves. Shortly after they broke up because of this sort of this way of they're going on this album, and Jazz was doing some music on the side, some solo stuff, and that sort of became the second album, and that was a tough period for the band, 86 through 90, and then they sort of got back together and pretty much stayed consistent through those next albums over the last 30 years or so. But there was a time there where this album kind of in direction maybe caused some friction, and that may have been caused by the popularity that the Nighttime album, the album before this, got them. For the most part, they're building a pretty steady cult following, but nothing too crazy. But they were on the charts, but they're still a punk outfit, and when Love Like Blood became a became a single and became a big hit in a lot of different countries like Germany, Netherlands and New Zealand and stuff like that, and UK of course, became a popular. I would say a popular song, but it became a underground hit on college radio in that year, even in America, and really kind of put them on the map, and really maybe led toward the different direction the band would go, and that could have been spurned by the popularity, but like Killing Joke is an amazing band on a lot of levels, and its popularity. There's a lot of things that will kind of ruin a band, their chemistry and their direction and their output, and a lot of times their egos, and for them to just kind of get off track for like an album or so and then still come back, in 1990 and then start doing some great albums again. I think that's probably the least impactful, as a lot of other bands have gone through like other distractions of drug abuse or what have you. But for the most part, the band members of Killing Joke are on the same page with what they want to represent and how they want to play live, and their sound and stuff like that. And this is the only one that really kind of changed that. So it's kind of a mixed album towards fans, and I'm not the hugest Killing Joke fan, and I wasn't necessarily around from the beginning for Killing Joke. Like, sure, I remember the track 80s and War Dance, but it wasn't until I heard this album or I'm sorry, until I heard Nighttime and Love Like Blood did really Killing Joke get on the map for me. And so I was used to that album, and then I got this album, and I really like this album because it's a little bit more atmospheric, and I like the way that Jazz sings on this album. It doesn't bother me. In fact, I really like it that he can sing in a higher octave and be a little bit more, I wouldn't say opera, or however you say that, is it operatic or it's just not more high pitched and more. I wouldn't say ethereal or anything like that, but he sings at a higher pitch, and there's really not the punk. But I'm not a huge punk fan, so this album I like a lot more than something like, um, Revelations or War Dance, or I'm sorry, Fire Dances. So yeah, I'm kind of probably in the bad graces of hardcore Killing Joke fans, but I wasn't necessarily around for the 1979 to 82 stuff. I'm not a huge punk fan. And I'm saying that lightly because I do like some punk, and I do have some punk, and I grew up with a lot of punk, but you know I generally like the more the deeper punk, and or maybe more comedic punk, even Dead Milkman or something like that. But I really like the blend of a little bit more atmosphere in here, and Jordy's guitar on here is I think phenomenal, and I think when they did the remix of this album in 2007, um, some people liked it, some people didn't, and I didn't necessarily. I just felt the drumming was heavy, and then maybe the keyboards were kind of put a little bit back in the mix, and maybe a little bit atmospheric, and it was just sort of trying to make it sound like a vintage Killing Joke album. And I didn't think that really worked. Yeah, it was still okay, but I don't think it's as good as this. I think they did the album a disservice by doing that. But I think they gave some people, their fans, a good, maybe just another version of it. Maybe to their liking. This is the original album here. Rave, Mr. Jack, Raven, and of course Jazz on the front. But the first track, Adorations. We'll get into the album here. I don't know if that's gonna stay. Doesn't want to stay. Um, eh. Put it there for now. Adorations. There was three. I think there was two singles on this album. This one, Insanity. Adoration. I really like the guitar, the way he sings it, the lyrics, the chorus is great, the crescendo of everything. I like how the chorus doesn't come to the second verse. Doesn't come to the second verse. I don't know what that means. I like how this chorus doesn't come to the second verse. Maybe I don't know what that means. Maybe there is no chorus after the second verse. I can't remember what this. Sorry, I can't read my notes here. I can't understand my notes. I did this a couple days ago. Anyways, I really like the keyboards, the echo. I really like Adorations. I think it's one of my favorite Killing Joke songs. I have it 4 stars. I think it's an excellent song. Sanity, dramatic. I like the keys. The guitar riff is really fast. I really like the beat. The verses are sung really well. Whoa! I like when he does that after each kind of each line in the verses. I think it's a really good driving track. Drives really well. The chorus is good. The music is strong. I think it's a really awesome song. Insanity. Insanity. 4 stars. Excellent track. Chessboards. Chessboards is my least liked. It's tied with Rubicon, the last track, for my least liked song on the albums, which might upset some Killing Joke fans. I know some Killing Joke fans really like Rubicon, but I think it's not. I think it's pretty good. It's just not. It's my least liked songs on here. This and Chessboards. For Chessboards, the chorus and the way Chess sings, brings it home. I like the melody. Pretty cool guitar. 2 3/4 stars. Still a solid song. I mean, almost a very good. Twilight of the Immortal. The melody combined with the guitar, the way he sings it. I really like Twilight of the Immortal too. It's one of my favorite on the album. I got 3 3/4 stars. Really strong song. Really love that song. Um, Love of the Masses is like kind of my underrated song on the album. I really like the bass line, the slower tempo. Guitar comes in, it's more atmospheric. It's beautiful. The way it's sung, the music is so strong. I got it 3.5 stars. I really think Love of the Masses is really underrated. I really like it. Now the interesting song on the album for me, and maybe for other people too, is "A Southern Sky." It's an interesting song because I'm sure when they were writing it, we're like, this could be a this could be a really a good hit or a really good song, or it kind of reminds me of Beatles in a little bit of a way. But I really I wonder if they just didn't abandon it because it doesn't necessarily sound like them, or it's different than what they've done before. Maybe this is a one of the songs that's under contention with the band members that they didn't really like the direction of this album. It could be because of this song. Um, I like the song a lot. It's a Southern Sky. The chorus is the point of contention. I feel like it's a little corny, and saying corny with Killing Joke is like it's like saying the grass is black. I mean, it never happens. Like Killing Joke and corny doesn't go together. It never has. But this chorus is probably why the album is in contention because the chorus is a little corny, and I never thought I'd say that about a Killing Joke song. It's kind of a mind-boggling song. It's so different. Still though, I still have it's good. Even though it's corny, it's still good. I'm surprised. That's how good Killing Joke is. The rest of the song is very good. I got 2.5 stars, so right in between good and very good. Still got a solid score. Actually, that's my least liked song. I'm sorry, not 2.75. Chessboards and Rubicon have 2.75. It's 2.5. Southern Sky. So again, I'm still like most Killing Joke fans and probably saying this is the least liked song on the album. It's just so different, and I don't. It's hard to know if if you really like it or if it's or if you don't like it. It's kind of like I don't know. It's a confusing song. It's strange. I mean, it's not confusing for the song what it is. It's just confusing for your opinion of it. Like, is it a good or is it a okay track or is it bad or is it horrible? Like some people think it's horrible, and I don't know if I would ever say it's any Killing Joke song is horrible, but it's so unusual. Anyways, Winter Gardens, really strong song. Guitar, drums, Jazz's voice carries it through. Atmosphere, another great one. 3.25 stars. And then Rubicon, it's an epic ending for sure. I don't think it necessarily really gets to the point where I can say it's a very good song though. So I got it as close as possible, 2.75. Just feel like it does. It's kind of. I feel like it in some ways it kind of helps the album, but some ways I feel like it kind of let the album down a little bit. I don't think it's as good as other people do. Like some people really like this album, really like the song on this album. I just couldn't put it there. They're very good. So yeah, really strong album though overall. The good of the album, the songs are. I mean, the songs are great. Insanity, Adorations, and Twilight Mortal. All three of those are my three favorites. The production, the atmosphere, the lyrics, the energy, Jordy's guitar, amazing. Jazz's voice, amazing. Some good drumming, good bass playing, well produced. Not much. The only thing bad about the album I have is it's 8 songs. Might be a little short, but they are kind of all 5-minute songs for the most part. It's 42 minutes, so that's averaging a little over 5 minutes. So it's not really necessarily short, but you know when I add up the stars, 26.5 stars divided by 8 songs. Really strong rating, average at 3.31. 3.31 stars. That's really strong. On my list, that 3.31 is in between 70s and 80s. 80 is a 3.5. So I think that's pretty on point with what I gave the album overall. I gave it a 78 out of 100. Really strong. It's for me. It's right on the edge of excellent. Like if there was one more good song, or if Rubicon was a little bit stronger of an ending, or maybe there was a different song instead of a Southern Sky, it would probably push it over. I think any of those three, extra song, the ending was a little bit stronger, or it had a different song instead of Southern Sky, and this album would have been in the '80s, so it would have been an excellent album. It's only 8 songs. That kind of, I wouldn't say it hurt it, but it didn't affect my score. I try not to have the length of an album affect my score, but that's verging on it right there, 8 tracks. But thankfully, they're all averaging over 5 minutes, so I get it. But wow, what a strong album! Killing Joke, Brighter Than a Thousand Suns. What a great album! And I think it's one of the things that's maybe misunderstood is I think this album is aged better than Nighttime. I said it. I said it. I said it. Jordy said it. No, I'm just kidding. Jordy didn't say that. Jordy was one of the ones that didn't like the direction of this album. But rest in peace, Jordy, by the way. But man, I really like this album. I really like the album. Is it my favorite Killing Joke album? Probably. And I really think, I think this album will keep continuing to age even better. Because it's something about it. That's really, like when I think of Adorations and Twilight of the Mortal, like those songs they feel like eternal for me. They feel like they're almost like to the point where they're religious. And maybe it's because of like the video and Adoration, or maybe it's Twilight of the Mortal. Maybe the thing he's singing in church is probably Adorations. But maybe they recorded his vocals in church and they sort of gave it like that kind of atmosphere that makes it sound sort of like it is almost like an eternal. It's almost like a spiritual event to hear some of these songs. It's just a really good. I really like this album. This album made me a Killing Joke fan. This album made me a jazz fan. This album made me a Geordie fan. And it made me go back and get their older albums because I like them that much. And even though I know that they're not necessarily to my favorites, you know, I'm a dance fan. I like electronic music. They add some more atmosphere and some keyboards in here, and that's another big reason why I like this album. So they were that good to be a punk band, alternative band, and add something that I would like, and made me a huge fan because that's how good they are. Just amazing. Can't say enough things about Killing Joke. But a really strong album, 78 out of 100. But yeah, that's my review for Brighter Than a Thousand Suns. Really strong album. All right, thanks for watching.